Legend of Total War here, and today we're doing another Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires campaign review, this time covering Sigvald the Magnificent. So Sigvald's campaign really needs to be compared to Azazel's campaign, because out of the mono-god focused Warriors of Chaos, Slaanesh is the only one that has 2 legendary lords that's focused on them. The other ones only have 1. And what that ends up happening is that you've got 2 campaigns that play out in a pretty similar sort of way, because their mechanics are almost identical. If we have a look at Scion of Slaanesh, we can see that his main distinction from Azazel is that he is able to reduce the soul's cost for Gifts of Slaanesh by 25%. Now, I don't think that's a very high impact because getting loads of souls is not difficult whatsoever. So making something that was very cheap already cheaper is of low impact, because having an excess of souls doesn't really do anything. Whereas Azazel's, his mechanic gives him much boosted relations with human factions, which I think is a bit higher impact, but still nothing massive. So the big question here is, why would you pick one Slaanesh faction over the other? It really does come down to really minute details of whether or not you enjoy Sigvald or Azazel more. Personally, I feel like Azazel's got a little bit more going for him. You know, he's a flying legendary lord. He'll eventually get access to the Blade of Slaanesh. And him being the most sort of recent DLC, he's just got a bit more of an interesting start position, whereas Sigvald's out here in the middle of nowhere. Now, the thing is, I don't think that Sigvald is a bad legendary lord. In fact, I quite enjoy using him. However, the way that I prefer to play as Sigvald the Magnificent is not to start as Sigvald the Magnificent. Now, the only Warriors of Chaos factions that are able to confederate are Be'lakor and Archaon. So my preferred way to play as Sigvald is to play as either one of those, come over here, meet him, beat him, so that you get his sweet defeat trait, and then confederate him. Because there's nothing in his own faction that is distinct from being within a undivided faction. He's still able to get all the same characters and more, all the same units and more. And if he's playing as if you're playing as Be'lakor, so if he becomes part of the Shadow Legion, you can essentially give him a full demon army, whereas in his own army, he can only get 6 demon, gifted units of Slaanesh, if you so wish. So I feel like starting as Sigvald isn't distinct enough to warrant this being a must-recommend campaign. It's not a bad campaign by any means, but the problem with it is that it is just not distinct compared to the other Warriors of Chaos. Like, you can get a better experience out of the other ones while also playing as Sigvald the Magnificent. He's just not the faction leader. I just don't think, as a faction leader, he's providing enough to make him interesting. Because this ability here just isn't that interesting or isn't that big of a deal. So missing out on that is I just couldn't care less. So overall, I like the Legendary Lord, just don't think his faction is that interesting. Anyway, in terms of what difficulty you should play on, it doesn't matter. Warriors of Chaos, super strong, easy, normal, very hard legendary. It's entirely up to you. Play on whatever difficulty you want. They're the most updated faction. They work really well. It's entirely up to you. So anyway, that's the end of this review. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Sigvald, whether you think I missed out on something that makes him distinct, or whether you completely agree. Entirely up to you. Post in the comments. And also let me know which Legendary Lord you'd like me to cover next. Anyway, that's the end of this one. Appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.